Hello everyone, welcome to this webinar about choosing a FXTM account type. This is Theunis Kruger. I'm the FX trainer for FXTM for South Africa. Right, as always, I just want to check if you guys can see me and if you can hear me. I see there's 5 people in attendance. Asani, Wenzile, can you guys hear me? Can you see me? If you can hear and see me, just please use the answers and just say yes that you can hear me and see me. Let me just double check anyway. My audio looks fine. I can see my microphone. So the question is, can you guys hear me? Right, I see there's 6 people in attendance. Anybody else can hear me, can see me? Just in the answers questions section. Excellent. Amanda says she can hear me. Yes. Esan says he can also hear me. Right. And now we're going to continue. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, choosing an account type. Now, this is ironic, but in the beginning, when you start, you don't actually have to worry about that. Right. So because you are not going to, there's something else that you need before you're going to start trading. Right. So why do I say that? This is like a language that you're going to learn or a skill that you're going to acquire. Right in the beginning, you actually don't know anything. So my suggestion is always to the guys, obviously the most important account for you is going to be your demo, because you are going to make mistakes and you don't want that mistakes. You want to pay with time, but not with money. So because you're going to learn and you're going to grow, you need to learn and grow. You need to master. You're going to need to try and learn and grow. So, but a lot of people, unfortunately, they never get the guts to go to a live account, and some people have too much guts. They go immediately to a live account, and because they haven't got the skill yet, they blow their accounts. So that's very unnecessary. So what I always advise them is, because we're going to learn, and you don't have to learn on your own. You contact us. We've got seminars, we've got webinars that can teach you the basics. So you're going to learn first and practice on your demo. But I advise people, if you've got a lot of money, open a standard account, yes. Open a Sense account, yes. If you haven't got a lot of money, open at least a Sense account, because there's going to be a process that you're going to follow. So you're going to learn theoretically first, and then you're going to see it on the old charts. It's a process of mastery. That's the way you learn you master any language, any skill that you want to acquire. Right. So, and then you're going to learn on all charts to see what it means. What is this language all about? What's the skill? What is technical analysis all about? What is represented on the charts? You're going to go through that. And then as you discover and you realize what it means and you choose a method, then you're going to practice that method on all charts as well. And then you're going to start practicing on demo. So all this while, all you need is a demo account and a Sense account. So because what's going to happen is, as you progress, as you get it right in the demo account, your execution becomes better. You not want to stall there. This is a business. This is not a hobby. Then you're going to progress. As soon as your skill is stabilized, you can execute without making mistakes. Then you go over to a Sense account. Right? Why not jump right into a standard account, especially for beginners? Because your skill is not good enough yet. In your brain, the way we learn, it's mental pathways, neurological pathways. So you have to learn it. You have to repeat something over and over and over to be able to build what we call neurological trees in your brain. That's when your skill becomes better and better. You have to repeat. Repetition is the mother of learning. Right. So all the while, trading accounts is not really that important because you're learning the skill. Okay. So what happens next? Then on a demo, you can execute well. Then on a Sense account, real money, more pressure, mental pressure, but not too much, because it's Sense that you're risking. Remember, you're focusing not on the money yet. You're focusing on the skill, building that skill. So you build on, and then when you can execute properly and consistently take good trades on a Sense account, you progress to you build up your account and you progress to a standard account, or then an EC account, ECN account, and that's the time when really changing or deciding on an account is really going to be important, because it's going to depend on your type of strategy. Do you like the lower time frames, the higher time frames? And this is why I want to keep this webinar as practical as possible. Right, so what are we going to look at? We're going to look at all the different trading accounts that we have. We've got a lot of them, and everyone has got a purpose. They're different, so they're not all the same. Very, very important. We're going to look at instant execution. What does it mean? Why is it important? For what types of trading methods is that important? And then we're going to go to market execution accounts. It's a different one. We're going to look at slippage, requotes. What does it mean? Why is it important? We can look at spread, commission, and comparison between the instant and the market executions. Execution, and all the while I'm gonna show you on the charts what do I mean. What do we mean with instant, with market? Why is it important with regard to your method that you're choosing, and so forth. And then just more information about our accounts, and then which one to choose and why, and then questions and answers. As always, guys, please, any questions you have, post it. It's regarding the learning process, the questions that you have, that you already have, that you get answers on, answers to is more important than information I give you without you asking a question yet. So the more questions you have, the better. So and if you get questions, or if you have questions during this session and you don't have the confidence to ask, please email me. All right. So get an answer. You can email me, you can Skype me, you can ask your account manager. There's lots of ways to communicate with us. There's no reason for you not to get answers. It's very important for us, because we know training is going to make a difference for you between somebody just that's going to be not being successful. That's what we want, long-term clients, and not successful, falling out. Lots of guys, it happens to them because they underestimate the learning process. They try to take shortcuts and so forth. Right? That's not what we wanted to do. We wanted to learn this properly, so you can become a successful trader. Right? I see no questions, so let's go on. Right? Before we go there, very, very important, especially if you're new, I'm going to talk about things that you might see for the first time, or it's things that you learn for the first time. We've got a very, very extensive education part. This is our website, FXTM.com. There's seminars and webinars. There's a glossary. If you wonder, if you're not sure what a term means, go and look it up there. It's part of your education. It's part of learning about this. What is Forex really? A lot of people don't really understand what's going on behind Forex. What does it mean? Why is the volume so high, the liquidity so high, and so on? Go and find out there. That's part of making this your own, making the skill your own, learning the language. There's a beginner's guide from a different perspective. Learning is about repeating, and the more different perspectives you get, the better you're learning. So more it's going to make sense to you. There's educational videos and so on. What we're going to talk about, if you want to recap, is I'm going to talk about the trading accounts. So if you go to the website, you go to trading accounts overview, then and there you'll also see you'll get some answers to your questions about commissions and the comparison and so on. So go over this in your own time, go and look at it, go and see. After this webinar, after you've listened to me, I've explained some things to you, it's going to make more sense. But still, if you repeat it, then it gets set in your brain better. Those neurological trees grow, and that's what you want in this stage. At this stage, right? So there's different types of accounts there, right? So you're going to see it there. If you click on it, it's going to show you details. We're going to go through them one by one in this webinar, so you can understand more about it, right? So I think let's go through the presentation again. Right, there's two groups of accounts. The first is the standard, is the instant accounts, instant execution accounts. That's what we're going to begin with. Now it's the standard account, the cents account, and the shares account. Okay, so what do we mean with instant execution? That means that when you put in an order, and again, I want to make this as practical as possible. So let's jump on to to our trading view or our MetaTrader. Sorry about that. We also post charts and trading view. So, but we're going to train on MetaTrader. So here I've got a Euro USD 4-hour chart. I put the switch on the scroll button so I can see if I want to put in an order here, then it's going to show instant account, right? Instant execution. That's because this is a standard account. So remember what I showed you, those 3 ones. So this is where you'll see where the difference is. If you've got another group of accounts, this will be a market. This will be a market execution. All right. So let's jump back. So instant executions are immediately filled at the price that you want, right? They're filled at the requested price. You must specify both the volume and the price, right? Before you can go on, let's go and check again. There you must specify the price. At this, in this instance, it would be a buy or a sell that you can instantly do, or you can otherwise specify the price here if you use a stop or a limit orders, right? So, and I want to employ you, I want to encourage you to, in the beginning, when you start trading, get to know MetaTrader, play around with it. That's why it's so important to open a demo account at first, because you don't want to make mistakes and pay with real money about it. You need to build your skill. You need to try to make mistakes in order to learn and then to grow. Okay, so I always tell the guys, you need patience and diligence. So don't procrastinate. Don't make this a game, but also don't try shortcuts. So there's a set way, like when you study anything, that you can study at a pace. So you learn these things, you practice it. So if you don't know what I'm telling you about, then you can also go to our education. I'm going to show you where it is as well. When you go to education and you go to webinars, when you are logged onto your webinar, when you're logged onto myfx.com, then it's going to show you the upcoming webinars, but also it's going to have recorded webinars here. This is all the educators all over the world. And that is recorded ones. Now, this is not you have to be logged into view to be able to view this. You have to register, at least have a demo account, not even a real account yet. So we are very, very generous with our education. And then you'll be able to watch. And there's a lot of webinars about introduction to MetaTrader, all sorts of, you see there's a couple of dozen different recorded webinars that's all going to help you, right? So you must specify both your volume and your price. And if it's not if the price is not available for some reason, that sometimes happens when there's news, when the market is very, very volatile, then you will immediately get a requote, and you can then decide if it's close enough for you, right? Something about the news trading. There's a lot of guys that think fundamental analysis has something to do with news trading. News trading is the markets, especially in the lower time frames, are very, very volatile around news times because nobody knows what to expect. And except if you are really a master trader, you've got a strategy that you have tested over and over and over and over, and you've mastered it, then I would advise you not to try news trading. Too many people wipe their accounts there because they underestimate the volatility, they underestimate the gaps that happen, and so forth. So especially in the beginning, I know some brokers say, start trading with news related strategies, but it's very, very dangerous when you don't know what you're doing. You have to be a master. Yes, it can be done, but you have to be a master to be able to do that. So during those times, you will get a requote, but you will not be filled. You will ask. You will know at which price you'll be filled. So if you accept the requote, if it's acceptable to you according to your strategy, then you will get filled. Either you will get or you'll get another requote. Doesn't happen a lot, but sometimes it does. And then it also allows you to set a stop loss and a take profit before opening the trade. And again, this is where we can see this. Here you can set your stop loss and your take profit. Okay, this is very important. You're going to train on this only after you start understanding the language. After you've picked the method, you understand about money management, those guys, if you haven't, you don't know about it, I talk about the foundation of online trading. The foundation is technical analysis. That's the foundation stone, if you want to call it, and then 3 pillars. Method, simple, well-defined method, proper money management, and you have to train. You have to train your mind. So your mind is the last pillar. If you don't know what I'm telling you or asking or talking about, then you can, again, you can log on to my FXTM. You can go to the recorded webinars, and you can search for a gift or the foundation of online training. You can listen to that just to understand what I mean with that. If you don't understand what I mean and you try trading, you're gonna get caught in the entertainment trap very, very, very fast, because you don't understand what the basics of this business is all about. Then it's very entertaining, but it will be hard for you to make money. Right? Okay. So let's jump around a bit. I want this to be practical. Okay, so that's instant executions. Right. So this is just what I meant. As a way of repeating, of learning. This is where you can set all these different things. And there's also a setting there, as you can see, enable maximum deviation. So if it's within that deviation, then it won't requote, then it will just execute. But if you set that very sensitive, like with a small time frame trading, small time frame methods, 1 minute, 5 minute, then it'll ask you for a requote. Right. But in general, 90, 95, almost 98% of the time, you will get filled immediately with exactly the price that you want. Right. Now, why is that important? Let's just go on to the second one, and then I'll compare the two. Okay. Okay. So then we've got our second group, the market execution group, and again, I'm going to go to the website so we can look at that. Very important for you to learn to use our website. Any questions, you get a lot of answers there. Right. That's our standard group. That was the immediate execution, instant execution group. And that's our second group. That's the market execution. Now, this has also got to do with liquidity providers. It's different liquidity providers here. People that provides us with a volume, buying and selling. And this is other guys. So this is we use the ECN, Electronic Communication Network, and it's passed through to bigger liquidity providers. Now it's got advantages and disadvantages. So let's look at this one. Your order is filled at the next available price. These guys cannot, or these data providers cannot give you the immediate price. Like with immediate execution accounts, it's the next available price, right? And you only need to specify the volume, right? If a quoted price is not available, it will be executed at the next available price. Now, that's a very, very important principle. We call it slippage, right? And slippage, that's the difference between the requested price and the filled price. Now, on the smaller time frames, slippage can be can affect your trading very, very positively or negatively. If you want to enter, let's go to the chart so I can demonstrate to you. If you plan to enter, for example, let's go to the lower time frames. If you plan to enter, let's say, for instance, here, you wanted to enter there when the price broke out there, and you put in an order there, but because of volatility in the market, it couldn't be filled. It might only be filled there. That might make a difference to your potential profit and potential risk that you had for that trade, right? So in general, that means for the market, for the lower time frames, the possibility of a slippage, especially on in the news times, that needs to be considered, right? So let's go on a little bit. I'll come back to that when we compare them, right? So so the one immediate, you get executed which you want. Market, you get executed at the next available price, right? So and again, you've got your specified one, the volume, your market execution, and there's a warning there. Attention, to be executed in market conditions. Difference is the difference in the requested price might be significant, right? So obviously, like I said, with the low time frames, that's a big issue. Higher time frames, that's not such a big issue. Okay. Okay, Amanda said she can't see the screen I'm talking about. Okay, Amanda, just specify for me which screen couldn't you see? I'm jumping between the MetaTrader 4, where I look at the actual things, and then we've got the website, and then I've got my presentation. Can you just specify which one you couldn't see, please? Amanda, you there? Okay, I'm going to continue until I get your answer, and then we can see. Right, we're currently on the presentation again. Right. So okay, I see you can put in your stop loss and your take profit there. So, but it's going to be different because of there might be some slippage there. So that's why that has an effect. Okay, now what does requotes mean? Requotes is with deals for instant execution. It happens when the requested price is not available. Normally during times when there's lots of volatility, news times and so on. Like I said, it doesn't happen a lot, and you have the choice to accept it or reject it. So that's why it's important to have practiced your method, your money management before the time, and you practice it over and over and over and over again until you can do it almost automatically. That's very, very, very important. That's one of the biggest reasons people wipe their accounts. They try to trade. It's almost like getting into a car and you don't know how to drive yet and you want to go on the highway. The chances of you making an accident is extremely high. Not because the car is dangerous or the highway is dangerous, simply because your skill hasn't been developed yet. You haven't taken the time, you're trying a shortcut, you haven't taken the time to master all these things that you have to do to be able to drive. The moment you've mastered it, the moment you've taken the practice, then the risk dramatically goes down, and it's exactly the same for trading as well. Okay, so Amanda said it was the screen where you were explaining the next available price. Okay, let's see the next available price. I think that was on my MetaTrader. Perhaps I'm jumping too fast. You can actually see the audience view. So we're talking about the MetaTrader, Amanda. Okay, let's go on. This is why I just explained that that you might want to enter there and you might get filled there in extreme cases. There's a good example there. You might have wanted to be entered, you might have wanted to enter there and there was just nobody buying or selling there at that price. Let's scroll back so we can look at that. This is a very handy couple of tools here. If you're trading live, you want to be at the end, but if you are experimenting, doing research and development, then you want to be able to scroll back. Then you deselect those two and you can scroll back and can do your studies. So there was a place where there was nobody that wanted to buy or sell there. There was no buyers or sellers in that place. And that's exactly what I mean, what happens sometimes. Okay. Right. That's a pleasure, Amanda. Right, let's go back. Right, so requotes, you have a choice to accept it or reject it. Always, 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 as I said, when you've mastered, when you understand the language of the markets, what it means, that rhythms, that underlying structure, you know where you want to enter, you know how you're going to enter, you've practiced that, then you will know when you get a requote if it's possible, if it's still viable for that trade or not. Okay, and this generally happens, as I said, in fast-moving markets. Okay, slippage on the other hand, deals with market execution. There's a difference between the quoted price and the price where it's filled, and it also occurs when there's a lot of volatility, news events, and so on. Right, and in this case, you don't get warned, so you get filled at the next available price. So that's why I say you must know what you're doing. And for the higher time frames, it's normally not a problem. For the lower time frames, it might be. In the early times, when there was not as much volatility in the markets, especially with smaller brokers, this was an issue. You could get serious slippage, but these days with the fourth industrial revolution, with technology and the internet and the quality of the connections to the data centers being so good, or so much better anyway, then this is not such a big problem. Okay. Okay, spread. Let's just check what spread is. It's actually a very good way to see that. I'm just gonna refresh this chart. When you open your new order button, there you can see the spread. That is the spread, right? So if you wanted to sell, that would be where you would sell. Your sell order would be placed. If you would buy, that would be your buy. Sorry, it's a different, right? So let's see how that works out. The spread is the difference between the ask and the bid price, as I just explained, and it fluctuates based on market conditions. That means it's when the market's volatile, very volatile, it might go a little bit higher, and when the market is it's not so volatile, then it usually goes a bit lower. So it goes smaller, so it's dynamic. That's very important to understand. That also will have a dramatic effect. You can see how it goes wider or not. Just as we open it here, you'll be able to see the difference, how it differs there. Right. It also makes a big difference. And I'm going to show you an example now. There I am, back where I want it to be. If I currently look, I've got a strategy, for instance, where I'm trading on the higher time frames. You can see a very important thing when you start trading is to please show the ask line. That enables you to see the spread there. Now the spread is so small that you can't even see the difference there. But as you go down, as you go lower to the 1 hour, you can start seeing the spread there. Not a big influence on your trading strategy. On the 30 minutes, it's a little bit more. 15 minutes, a little bit more. 5 minutes, you can see it might start having an effect on your method. So if you want to take profit and you enter there, it might have a little bit of an issue, but definitely if you go to the 1 minute and you want to, for instance, enter during this down move here, this spread, and you definitely have to factor the spread in and widen your stops and your take profit, and make very sure that the moves are correct for you. Now this is just one. This is actually a spread is very low here. It's just 2, and we're going to see a little bit how that differs, and with the ECN account that differs quite a lot. Right. See no other questions, so let's continue. Let's look at a different. We'll look at the USD 0R. Let's go to the 1 minute. You see an immediate big difference here. Let me just get that in. Can you see the difference? Right. So the other one, it was still feasible if you know what you're doing. With this currency pair, to be able to trade in the 1 minute is going to be very, very difficult. The spread is simply too wide compared to the structure of the market here. So you're gonna the jump that you're gonna the difference between the bid and the ask, the difference between you want to get in and immediately what you get filled is going to be too much for on this currency pair for a strategy where you use lower time frames. But as you go up, you'll see the effect is less, up to 4 hours, where it's almost not an issue in the daily. It's almost not an issue as well. So if you shop, you will deduct that if you trade longer time trades, and it doesn't matter so much what the difference is, which account you use. But as you go to the lower time frames, then it does have a serious effect. Right, spread during higher volatile markets, it's high during volatile markets and low during market times when it's when there's not a lot of activity. Okay, and spread is usually high. It's a bit higher in the instant execution accounts. Right. Commissions. Commissions is only in one account, in the market execution account. So, and that enables you, and I'll explain that when we look at the different the details of the accounts. Then you'll see that when you ask, when they charge commission, then the spreads is actually much lower because the broker is already getting some income. So some brokers charge commission as a percentage instead of higher spreads. That's actually what happens. So instead of the normal spreads, you pay a commission and you get much lower spreads. Now, those of you who, when I just spoke about the spreads and how the spreads can affect on the lower time frame, immediately would grasp the fact that if you pay a commission and your spreads is lower, so instead of higher spreads, you pay a commission and you have much lower spreads. Obviously, an account like that would much better suit a lower time frame type of method much better. I'm going to demonstrate to you that in just a while. Commissions is charged only in the ECN, MetaTrader 4 and MetaTrader 5 accounts. So those are also the accounts, as I'll show you, which for a low time frame strategy will work the best because your spread is so low. Small commission, lower spread. That makes it more feasible to trade. Okay, no commissions is charged on the ECN 0 and the FXTM Pro account. Now, the Pro account, I'll show you all the guys that come to us. This is, I say it over and over again, it's like a language that you learn, it's like a skill that you learn, it's a business. Don't treat this as a hobby. It can be dangerous if you treat it as a hobby. Because then you get into the entertainment trap and people get greedy, they get fearful and they blow their accounts. And that is not necessary. But if you treat it as a business, if you respect it, if you respect the underlying structure of the market, the language of the market, then I want to train the people to, you start with a demo account, and you've got when your skill is good, you go to a sense account. As you get better, you go to a standard account, ECN account, depends on which strategy you have. And then as you grow over time, your skills become better and you build up your account. I want you to enter or to end at the pro account. There your spreads are very, very low. And then it means this is serious business for you. Right, and it is not as some people think it's a fairy tale. It's not. You just have to be patient and diligent. Right. Okay, the amount of commission depends on the volumes you trade, and now let's look at a comparison between the instant and the market execution price, or the instant and the market execution accounts. Before we go into a little more detail, we've got the instant and the market. You get filled at your desired price, or you get a requote, you get filled at the next available price. Big difference for lower time frames. Trader can refuse to take the price, then it's not activated, the trade is not in. Here it's automatically entered. You've got requotes, you've got slippage. You've got higher spreads, you've got more tighter spreads here. Predetermined stop loss and take profit doesn't necessarily allow it here. Right. So let's look at the different accounts that we have. We've got the standard account, the sense account, and the shares account. I'm going to jump to the website for that, so we can so you can see how to use it. So you can go and see for yourself as well. We've got the standard account. Right. So this is the old type of account. So this means that before, let's say a couple of years back, before the spreads were so, the commissions and the spread started getting so competitive, you had less brokers and so on, then this was the normal account that people started with. The sense account is a very, very special account to me as a trainer especially. And the reason is that a lot of people, they practice on a demo, but sometimes they want to jump to real account too quick, and there was always just a standard account. So, and what happens then is their mind is not strong enough yet. Their mental framework has not been practiced enough yet. And the moment they go to the standard account, the jump is high, the emotions are more, and then the guys bomb out. The emotions that involved in the trading has not been practiced out of the system. There's just too many emotions, and they start messing up the trades and so on. The sense account is a beautiful, beautiful thing. You can open it up for. Let's go and look at it, because this is actually after the demo account. This is the first account that you're gonna trade on to hone your skill. So it's only based on the MetaTrader 4, and it's based in cents. Yes. So if you open an account, and you open it, the minimum you'll see is $10 or $10, euros or British pound. If you open it with $10, it means you've got 1,000. That's $10 times 100 for the cent. You've got 1,000 cents. That means you can realistically practice, keep on practicing like you did on demo, and master the skill. Learn this language, practice to execute your methods, your money management, until you only take good trades, right? And in this case, when I talk about a good trade, I don't talk about a profit or a loss. In the beginning, people tend to associate a good trade with profits and a bad trade with loss. That's not the way it is. A good trade is defined if you wait until the market told you where to enter, you applied your method, you applied your money management, and you either made a profit or you protected your account when your method said you should protect your account. Right, that's a good trade. So it's independent of if it can either be a loss or a profit. A bad trade is when you did not follow your plan. You did not wait until the market for the market to show you where to trade. You went in impulsively. You did not follow your plan. You did not follow your money management. I don't care if you made a profit or a loss. Over time, you will get wiped. Period. That is the definition of a bad trade. It's not following your plan, and that's the big value for a sense account. Is you're going to practice after you can execute the demo, after you've made you learned all your lessons on the demo, and you go to a sense account, and you can still do with the fact that there's real money. You can practice. You can still do you can do good trades and build up your account. That means you make a net profit over a series of trades. There's never ever anybody, any broker, anybody that will be able to guarantee you 100% of your trades is going to work. Sometimes the market tells you to enter, and unexpectedly a lot of buyers, if it's a sell trade, the buyers come in and you get stopped out. But the thing is, you protect your account, right? Guys that trade without stop losses, they get wiped, period. I don't care how good you are. At some stage, you will get wiped if you don't use stop losses. There's exceptions to that, but that's also guys that are master traders, right? So let's look at the cents account. You open it with cents. There's different leverages you can choose. There's no maximum. The minimum is 10, so it makes it very, very affordable. $10 in South Africa is 150 Rand. It means you can actually start the business with 150 Rand. And the amazing thing about the online trading business is you get your training for free. You get your demo, your execution account, where you make most of your mistakes in the beginning until you learn how to handle your tool. MetaTrader is going to be your tool, like a carpenter has hammers and tools and tongs and stuff that he has to get to know and chisels. MetaTrader is our tool that we're going to use in our business, right? So and the spreads here you'll see very important from 1.5. So you'll see the difference between when we get to the other accounts. So margin call, those things very important to know. To protect your account, and that's for guys who don't know how to manage their risk. If you get a margin call ever, means you're not sure, you don't know how to manage your risk. If you know how to manage your risk, and you won't get margin calls or stop outs. There's a lot of information here. Later it will make sense. Now it doesn't make sense necessarily, but there is some basic things, right? So it's limited, obviously, because it's a cents account. So there's the maximum volume is one lot that you can trade. And this is perfect, the absolute perfect tool to learn to trade, guys. This is really, really special, right? And normally, when guys can handle the cents account, then we go to a standard account. So let's go and look at a standard account. Okay, MetaTrader 4 and 5. Now you can choose between 5. Lots of guys ask me, see how the time is going. Yes, we've still got time. Ask me between 4 and 5. 5 is 4. We train mainly on 4 because it's a little bit simpler. That's the initial one that came out. Initially, it was developed only for Forex, but these days you can get all the instruments. But MetaTrader 5 is a little bit more complicated. If you can trade with 4, then it's not very difficult to migrate to 5. But in the beginning, 5 might be a little bit confusing. It's been specifically developed. It's got more time frames, more options, more for all the different types of accounts that came, the CFDs, the indexes, all these things that came with. So you can choose in the end. But we suggest to for training purposes, start on MetaTrader 4. Okay, you've got your leverages, and again you'll see the spreads. Spreads very important. Instant, the minimum is 100, right? So this also depends. Some guys trade from the cents account, they trade their account up, and then when it comes to 100, it means they can jump to a standard account. Not very. I don't suggest that in the beginning, because the minimum lot size is then, because you're jumping from a cents where you get a multiplication of 100 to a standard account. You are not going to be able to take with to manage your risk very well if you trade with 1 or 2 or 3% with your account. This is just too much. This is too little. So I suggest the guys stay on the cents account until they build their account up a little bit, or they can up it to, say, let's say 1,000 or so. Just suggestions you will see with your method. No commissions, just the spread, and again, leverage or the margin call and stop out and so on. Right. Okay, I'm not going to go into too much detail. We haven't got time for that. Right, shares account, also rather new. So, and you can trade up to 180 US shares with this. Lots of people asked us for this because the accessibility to trading stocks is limited. Normally you have to open with a stockbroker, and it costs a lot and so on. So with this you get access actually to the US stock market, and you can buy and sell, you can speculate as well. And it's got its own unique way. So you can't open a demo account anymore. You have to open a real account, and then you can get a demo account and test it before you start trading live. But it is possible to test it with a demo account as well. But this is more for guys who are serious, who know what they want, and a lot of guys use it also for hedging their actual stock positions, stocks that they've bought. Right, this is the first group, the instant execution group. Let's just see what happened on there. Yeah, this is the group. We've discussed each of them. Is there any questions that you have? A very nice thing, while I wait to see if there's a question, a very nice thing, and I use the webinars, actually the recorded webinars, actually a lot to refer people back. When we're talking at seminars or via the phone, or we're training via Skype, and a guy doesn't understand the concept, then, or he's not sure, he has to choose an account, then I refer him first to go and listen to the recorded webinars, because you can listen at your own time, get the basic information, and then you have your questions, and then it's very easy to answer the questions and to take a decision. So this webinar is also going to be very useful for me in the future. Right. Okay, so no questions, so let's go on. Yeah. Okay. Let's continue. Sorry about that. Okay. This is just a summary of what we looked at. And that's how you can actually see on the comparison. So we looked at all these. You can see with the standard accounts, you see the spreads for the normal forex are quite high, or higher, right? And like I demonstrated to you, this has an impact on the lower time frames. But in the higher time frames, this is comparable to the best in the world. So this is very, very low spreads, right? Okay, I think I'm gonna jump back there. This is the instant execution group. We've looked at them. Very important, they're all MetaTrader 4. Cents account is MetaTrader 4, this has changed. Right, shares accounts is also MetaTrader 4. Okay, all right. Let's quickly go through this. No maximum, no minimum, or it's got a minimum, 100, 100. It is sometimes updated, so it's good to check before you do, when it's time for you to choose an account. This is all the instant executions. I think we're going to rush through this, and the margin calls also differ, so it's good to see the updated ones. Right. I'm going to rush through this. We've already seen this. This is just the last part. All our volume 0.1, so it's nice and small. always when you start trading, guys, start small. It's like when you start riding a bicycle, you start training with training wheels. There's a purpose for that, so you don't get hurt. Okay, so this is what the demo and the sense account is for. Right, let's look at the market execution accounts. You've got the ECN, electronic network, electronic communication network accounts, and then the zero. Right, and then the pro. That's why I want you guys to have a talent to end up. So let's go and look at the accounts overview. So let's discuss the next part. We've got your ECN account. Now I want to discuss this one first, and I want you to see the difference, especially in the spreads. When you talk about low, you can only open one on 4, MetaTrader 4, and look at the spread here, guys. So you've got a commission, so it means you've got lower spreads. So that means from 0.1, it's almost nothing. So it makes it feasible if you trade on a lower time frame to be able to trade on 1 minute or 5 minute charts, where on some of the other accounts we will not be able to do that. Right. So this is very important. Margin calls are a little bit higher, you'll see, because this is with the larger liquidity providers. So, and you also get the slippage problem here. So that is why there's some more protection built in for you guys. Right. There's some more information. Minimum lots always. It's only with the indexes and some of the commodities that the minimum is a bit higher than that. You have to have a larger account. But as you can see, this is the maximum. That's a lot, guys. If you trade with that, then it means you've got a seriously big account. Right. So that's the ECN account, very special for guys that trade with lower time frame type of methods. Right, then we've got the ECN 0 account. So the spreads are still very, very competitive. It's also still only 4, and the spreads are almost the same as with the standard and the others. Now, some guys ask me, why should I then choose a ECN 0? This is mainly for guys that trade with very, very large volumes. So as you get better and better and better, and you want specifically market executions, some people want that for whatever reason, then the guys, even though the spreads are the same as the standard, then they choose these types of accounts, right? So that is one of the reasons. Margin call information you can get here, minimum lot sizes all the same. So, and maximum is all the same there, right? And then, very important, this is a very, very special one. This is for guys that are serious about this business, that slowly but surely build up their. Let's just look for. Just want to make sure what is the minimum that you can open up here with. Okay, it's 200, so it's a little bit more that you need to open up an account like this. But this is the one I want you to look at. So if you take this seriously, if you start understanding you've got a talent for this and you build it up, then this is where you want. This is why I want the guys to end up. This is a FXTM Pro account, and you see the minimum is $25,000 or euros or British pound. Now this is for guys that are serious, and this is where your spreads are extremely low. So if you can get to a point where this is feasible for you, where over time you build your skill up and you build your account up where you can get up to where you can get you can open this account, then it's a game changer. As you can see, 0, that makes even lower time frame methods very, very feasible. So this is definitely something I want you to aspire for, and which also couples very, very well with this. I'm just going to jump over to presentation, which combines very good with this. The moment you get very, very good, then it's possible for you to open an investment account, FXT Invest account. Now, if guys have got questions, they can just email me or contact us and ask about it. But if you become a master, if you master this language, you can speak it. It works for you, making a profit. And it actually means that you can open a strategy, a manager account, and then other traders or other investors are willing to link their account to you, and you can actually earn commissions from other guys, the profits you make for other guys. So that's a very, very good opportunity that we have in Forex Time. Forex Time Invest, right? So again, this is like a summary. We've gone through the basics here. So the most important thing for me is to realize that that there's slippage involved here, but you've got this very ECN account, very low spreads because you pay a small commission. All right, so that helps a lot with the lower time frames. Okay, again, it's just gonna go through every one of these. Some of the guys asked why I don't explain each of these things in detail. So when it's time for you to choose and you talk to somebody and you've got your questions and we get the answers, then it's going to be worth studying this thing. In the hour we've got now, I'm just giving you an overview, and it's going to really help you a lot. But it is worth speaking to somebody when it's time to open your account, when you've got questions, to just talk about these things, each one in very detail. So until you understand what you're doing. There's a quote by Warren Buffett. Now, those of you who know Warren Buffett, he's a very wise, very old and wise investor, and he's quite good. And he made an interesting comment. He said, whenever you risk money, whenever you invest, you must invest in your circle of competence. Because if you don't know what you're doing, if you're investing outside your circle of competence, then it means you're taking risks you don't even know about. Now, it's the same with these accounts. When it's time for you to choose, and especially when it's time to start trading your account, and you don't know the special nuances about these things. For instance, you want to trade a lower time frame strategy, and you open a standard account, and the spreads are high. It can influence your whole profitability of your strategy. So that's the time when you get knowledge. When you get knowledge, it means you're expanding your circle of competence, and then the risks become much less. So it's not only with trading; it's with any business. If you go into a business and you haven't done your homework, then you're going to pay school fees. And in the real world, it's money you pay. And it's not nice to pay and to blow accounts and so on. And especially, it's not necessary. So when you have those questions, when you have to take that decision, when you start trading, when you've built up your skill, when you start trading with a standard account, then that's the times, or with a bigger account, up from the Sense account, then this is the time that would be the season to spend more time to understand these things, to choose from the start a right account. If you have done that and you're not sure, you can still find out. It's so easy to just open accounts and close accounts and move your money with Forex Time between your wallet and your different accounts. It's really for me, who started trading many years ago, it was a big problem, or a big slip. It took time. These days, it's almost instant. Right. So what to choose, as we discussed, you need a strategy, and you need it executed at your requested price. You want to be sure about that. Then what is the account? Obviously, that you choose for that. You want the requested price. The answer is obviously instant account. Do you need your order to be executed at the requested or the next available? Is it a higher time frame? It's not so important. Then it can be some of the market, some of the other accounts. So the market execution accounts. Do you need higher spreads with no commission? Do you need tighter spreads with commission? Those are the type of answers you're gonna start, or the questions you're gonna start asking. And then you need to find out more. Then you need to ask or study and then decide. If you want to trade shares, obviously that's a separate account. You can't do it through the other ones. It's another one, another interesting fact I also want to mention. Like I said, with each account, there's liquidity providers. There's data centers we link to, guys that provide the liquidity, buyers and sellers. We always make sure that there's lots of liquidity, lots of buyers and sellers. We link to data centers and places where you get your fills, where you not get at a point where there's nobody wanting to buy and to sell. That's very important, providing liquidity. Right, and with some accounts, like with a standard account, then you'll see there is cryptocurrencies, because the liquidity providers, they are willing to provide liquidity to buy and to sell for standard accounts. But for ECN accounts, there's no the liquidity providers. It's bigger markets that we link to, bigger data centers. They are not willing to execute that, and they don't want to do that. So there's no cryptocurrencies with the ECN accounts. So that's also some of the questions you can have. If you have a strategy which you specifically trade cryptocurrencies, then you're going to have to go to a standard account. If it doesn't matter, then you can use the ECN account and so forth. So never, please be afraid to ask. With the shares, obviously, there's only the shares. Do you want a small account or a very large account? That's where the standard ECN accounts versus a pro account comes in. If you're really good, if you've mastered this language, this skill, then there's certain advantages to going to the larger accounts. And there, as I mentioned, the cryptocurrencies. Right. Is there any questions? We've got a couple of minutes left. So, is there any questions that you have? I have to apologize. There's a lot of information even in this hour that I've gone through. So that's the nice thing about the webinars. What I'm going to do is just jump to the intro, so you can see my email. There's my email address. If you've got any questions about the accounts, if that time comes, just let me know. You can also ask your account manager if you like. There's multiple venues. So is there any questions that you had, any questions that came up during this webinar? Like I said, there's a lot of information. So if you're not sure, you want to review it, please email me, and then I'll send you the link to this webinar. It might not be, this specific one might not be posted on the website. They have to choose. So they choose just certain ones to link there. But we use GoToWebinar for this, and there it is for a couple of months. The specific webinar will be there, and that's the link that I give to you. If you go to the, I'm going to show you how to get to the recorded webinars. Right, let's do that while we have a little bit of time. If you log on to your account, and you go to your My FXTM profile, you're going to see can you guys see? Yes. You go to education, you go to webinars. And this is a very, very powerful learning tool. This is the upcoming ones, and there is recorded ones. So you'll see some strategies. This is one of my strategies, or my main strategy that I talk about. Here's some highlights. If you scroll through here, there's different. You can see an introduction to Forex basics, part 2. There's different webinars here. Just going to scroll through to see if there's one about the different accounts. So then it's going to be there's a good chance it's another trainer that did that one. See, introduction. If you're not sure about how to use a MetaTrader yet, take the time, please, guys. Take the time, get to know your tools. Listen to this one. You can listen to it your own time, your own space. If you know where it's going, you can forward and backward or whatever. That makes it very powerful. So let's just see if I can find one. There's mine. It's my basic one. As you can see, there's a lot of value here. Part 2, so you can get to know more. There's some other strategies here as well. And there's chart types. See no other questions, so I'm just going to go through here. I know they upload and download. Sometimes they change these things. I did see another one at some stage about choosing an account, but like I said, you can just ask. Right, that doesn't look like it's here anymore. So for choosing accounts, if you have questions, you have to email me, and then all sorts of very, very interesting information here. the beginning, your biggest challenge is not making money, it's learning the skill, it's learning the language, guys. So if you learn the language, like any skill, then you will be able to make money. But if you don't learn the language, you don't get the skill, then you will not make money. Ask me. I was in the entertainment trap for many, many years, trying different things. I talk extensively about that in my webinar about the foundation of the gift of online trading. And it's only once you start to get to know the language. You don't do it for entertainment anymore. It's a business. You understand the basics of it, and you apply a simple, well-defined method as proper money management, and you practice and you practice and you practice first without the pressure of live accounts to get the skill. Then it is possible to make success of this. Right, our time's up. I see there's no other questions. And yes, thank you for listening, and I hope you do well. And please remember, you're not alone. It's like a gym buddy. When you decide to gym, you want to, get strong, then it's much easier if you've got a gym buddy, somebody to support you. Use us. Use our services. Email me. Ask around. Use the website. Lots of basic information, and your chances of success are much, much, much higher. Right? Have a nice day and goodbye.